Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is October 13th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You can see a lot of cold air associated with our next storm system. It's dropping down into place. This is going to bring some heavy precipitation, some big mountain snows, and it's going to feel pretty chilly here across a lot of the state of California. Some very abnormally cold air moving across the region with some actually relatively warm water there off the California coastline. That's going to help add some fuel to the fire, add some instability to the storm. And you can see we also have a thunderstorm right now as we speak, right across the California-Arizona border. Some of this subtropical moisture continues to be drawn out of the south across portions of Arizona. But taking a look at what we are dealing with, so I'm going to scroll back in time here, and this is last night. This is that same storm that hit the Pacific Northwest, some lightning, some mountain snows, and now it is California's turn as the tropospheric polar vortex pays a visit to the state of California. And again, with some very warm waters off the coastal areas, this is going to be quite a dynamic storm. Got some flooding potential and big mountain snows incoming. And just showing you how unusually cold this storm is. We're looking at 850 millibars, which is about 5,000 feet up in the atmosphere. And you can see that cold storm here for the Pacific Northwest. But if we drop this down off the coast of California, it becomes very unusually cold, and you can kind of see that spinning there and really set up shop here as we go on in through today and tomorrow, and probably be with us in some form on into early portions of Wednesday before the system starts to slide off to the east. But very unusual storm for this time of year. Taking a look at ocean temperatures, you can see this is October 11th, and it doesn't look too bad here. But you got to remember that these temperatures across some of Southern California are very close to 70 degrees. And with that very cold air aloft, that is going to create some dynamic conditions and potential flooding into Southern California, especially. Now, if we go look at the actual sea surface temperature anomaly, so for this time of year, we are definitely above normal. And again, that's going to add some power to this storm. Now, looking at where we are right about now, you can see this low pressure system starting to develop there, bringing some rain across Northern California, some upper elevation snowfall. And this really gets ramped up here as we go through this afternoon. This is about 5 p.m. tonight. And you can see the snow start to fly across the Sierra Nevada. And again, ongoing across Northern California, some heavy rainfall moving in across the Bay Area, Sacramento Valley. And as this tracks down the coastline, it's really going to gather some steam. At Rounds Point, Conception, it's not losing any of its punch. It can bring some very heavy rainfall across Santa Barbara, Ventura, Los Angeles, and maybe even down towards Orange County here as well. And it's really going to pound the transverse range. Some very heavy rainfall incoming. And again, big mountain snows, as you can see. Then we scroll off in towards Wednesday morning. Still kind of with us here across the Sierra Nevada before it finally pulls off to the east as we go on in through Wednesday night. So take a look at the high resolution. This is composite reflectivity. This is what the Doppler radar may look like here over the next 48 hours. And you can see this is where we are right about now. That's about 9 a.m. And you can see we got some heavy rain moving in across portions north of the Bay Area. That will be moving in here over the next couple hours. You could get some heavy rain, some thunderstorm activity with that, some gusty winds associated with that activity as we go on and through the day today, and plenty of precipitation coming for some of the Sacramento Valley here. I don't see any flood watches up, so I want to call some attention to that. And not necessarily as heavy as what's going to happen in a short amount of time across Southern California, but as you can see, possible multiple rounds of heavy rainfall, moderate rainfall trading over the same area could cause some of that flooding concern. And then we scroll off in towards very late tonight and tomorrow morning and look at all this heavy rain kind of sliding down across Southern California. Narrow cold frontal rain band pushing across Los Angeles County, maybe impacting the Palisades burn scar area. Gotta watch out here, folks. If you are near some of the burn scar areas or some of the higher terrain, dry washes, you guys know where you are, low-lying elevations, some of the streams that are normally dry, those are going to become active here as we go on in through the day Tuesday. You see that cold front slide down towards Orange County, still got quite a punch to it as well. And it's a good thing this thing stays mainly progressive here, because if this hangs up at all, it is going to be absolutely devastating for some areas that it were to hang up over. But it looks like it's fairly progressive, although it does stay fairly strong all the way down through San Diego County, even down towards Baja and Mexico there. And then you can see that upper level low with us as we go through the day on Wednesday here. This is about Wednesday morning, very early Wednesday morning as that kicks off to the east. Now, looking at Southern California, we're homing in on things a little bit here because this is 1 hour precipitation totals. When you start getting up over a ½ inch in an hour over a burn scar area, that can cause problems. Up over an inch, you can get big problems. So as we scroll on in through late Monday night, you see some of these areas, you're pushing up towards 3/4 of an inch, up towards an inch with some of these 1 hour precipitation rates. So as we scroll on in towards Tuesday morning, look at that. I mean, you're talking about an inch and a quarter in an hour starting to streak across Los Angeles County. Look at that right near the Palisades. And again, across some of the transverse range, just absolutely torrential rainfall kind of moving in here at times. And again, I would not be surprised to see some of these locations overperform with some very warm water off the coastline and very cold air aloft. And then you can see that move down across Orange County and towards San Diego County. And this is on the day Tuesday before that finally slides through on Tuesday afternoon with still some residual showers moving across the area. Now, taking a look at total precipitation. We just looked at 1 hour totals here. So let's take a look at what happens for Southern California as we go on in through Monday night and into Tuesday morning. Look at some of these gaudy totals across the transverse range. And if I check my calculations, just 10% of Los Angeles County here, maybe across the higher terrain, if you got a few inches of precipitation, that's billions of gallons of water coming down fast and furious. And again, if it falls in, these narrow bands of precipitation, of course, you're just going to be inundating certain areas with big amounts of precipitation. And again, burn scar areas, you really need to be alert for this. So hopefully local authorities are aware. There are flood watches up for Los Angeles that we'll be looking at here in a moment, but look at those precipitation amounts rolling in. Now, if we take a look at the entire state total precipitation, you can see it kind of hit and miss across the Bay Area, but some areas still picking up over an inch of precipitation. Some areas could be looking at 2 to 3 locally as this pivots down the Central Coast across Rounds Point, Conception there, and heads for Southern California. And I'll scroll towards the end of this and also want to pay attention across some of the Sacramento Valley. Some big amounts showing up. Again, not quite as fast and furious, but again, kind of, the upper level low is going to be right here. So it's going to continue to pedal some of this precipitation up across the Sacramento Valley. And a lot of this across the Sierra Nevada is going to be falling as snow, but there is some flood watches for lower elevations. And it's a good thing the snow was not a lot bit higher, because the flooding would probably be much worse if that were the case. But the snow levels are going to be somewhere around 5,500, 6,000 feet. And there is some snowfall possible for even the transverse range. Now, be careful with some of these totals here, especially across some of the Sacramento Valley. I debated even showing this, but there's probably going to be bigger amounts coming across the Sacramento Valley. And I don't know that the National Weather Service is paying enough attention to some of that. And you're probably going to get locally heavier amounts across the Bay Area down through Santa Cruz, Monterey, Big Sur, Gorda. They're picking up on some of those heavy precipitation amounts a little bit there. But Sacramento Valley does not have any flood watches up. And if you get those bigger precipitation amounts, 2-3 inches in 6-12 hours, of course, you're going to have some flooding concerns. And you can see we got winter storm warnings up for the Sierra Nevada. Lower elevations like South Lake Tahoe, you're looking at quite a bit less than what you're going to be dealing with up above 6,000 feet. But I-80 is up over 7,500 feet. So you got to watch out going back and forth on some of these back highways as well. And if we take a look here at the European, and I just want to kind of highlight that, you can see some of that coming across some of the Sacramento Valley and some of the northern San Joaquin Valley also, and then Southern California kind of getting plastered there also. This is not a high resolution model, but you can see some impressive precipitation amounts coming for some portions of the coastal range and the Sacramento Valley on the European model. Now, if we look a little bit closer here at the Sacramento Valley, this is the high resolution rapid refresh. We're going to scroll on in through. This is 6-hour precipitation totals. So you can see some of these bigger totals kind of showing up, and then it moves across portions just north and east of the Bay Area across Sacramento. Some of these areas are up over an inch and a half in a 6-hour period. And then again, kind of a running total there, 6 hours. Now, if we look at the North American model, not quite as much, but it does show similar, potential for multiple rounds of precipitation moving across. And if we look at Hanford, California, again, I want to point this out, the winter storm warnings, and you can see it does include all the Sierra Nevada. And again, some of the foothills are dealing with that flood watch. Now, Southern California, again, these totals, these are kind of being underdone a bit here, folks. Like what I'm seeing in the high resolution models, there could be some bigger amounts rolling in here. It's probably going to be variable based on, who gets under what, but some of these totals might be on the low side. And even then they have the potential impacts, burn scar areas, potential risk for debris flows. You can see the timing here. I'm not going to read that off. You can pause it and read that if you want. And you can see some south wind gusts, 30 to 55 miles per hour. The higher amount the higher wind gusts are going to be across the higher terrain, of course, and increased confidence for some upper elevation mountain snow, mainly above 6,000 feet. You could get a few inches there across the transverse range. If you're out and across those areas, you know who you are, so watch out for that. And taking a look at the marine weather statement also, they talk about any thunderstorm that forms will be capable of producing locally gale force winds, rough seas, dangerous lightning, heavy rainfall with reduced visibility, small hail, and even water spouts. And when those water spouts come on shore, those are tornadoes. So we do have tornado potential. And I want to show you some of that here right now. We're going to go on to severe weather and we're going to go to the convective outlook and check this out, folks. Look at this current day 1 outlook. So you can see it right there. We got wind threat today, but watch as we go into tomorrow. Look at that for Southern California. Tornado threat, 2%. That includes Los Angeles County, coastal areas up towards maybe San Bernardino, Ventura County, even down towards Orange County. So there is that tornado threat present, and those can cause damage when they come on shore. If you've lived across the Los Angeles basin for any length of time or Southern California, you know about that. Now, talking about the snowfall a little bit here as well. Look at the accumulated positive snow depth change in inches. So if we scroll on in through Monday night and Tuesday, look at some of these totals. I mean, up over 30 inches. This is positive snow depth change. I'm not cherry picking some Kuchera or 10-to-1 snow ratio. This is the actual amount of snow expected to accumulate. You can see around Lake Tahoe, you're talking about lesser amounts, but when you get just a little bit higher in the terrain features, there much heavier snowfall amounts. So definitely be aware of that. And also, if I toggle back and forth, look at across the transverse range, you're dropping what, 2, 3, 4 inches for some locations. So again, be careful for that off in the backcountry. And if we look at the European snow depth, again, this is not just some cherry pick 10-to-1 ratio or anything. This is actual snow depth. So you can see it maxes out 1.5 feet or so on the European. It's not as high resolution as the high resolution forecast. But then as we go off into the future, it is October. And of course, that snowpack is going to be melting away here. That's probably not going to hang out for long. It's a little bit early in the season. I mean, it's, yeah, like I said, it's mid-October. Now, also apparent temperatures here. So this is Monday morning. You can see it's fairly chilly across some of the higher terrain, pretty typical there. But if we go on in towards Tuesday morning, you can kind of see this colder air mass sitting up across some of the Sierra Nevada here. It's going to feel raw across the valley areas, the Bay Area. It's going to feel like lower 50s. This does take wind chill into account. And as we go on in through Wednesday morning, check it out. Some of the higher terrain of the Sierra Nevada is going to be below 0 with the wind chill factor being taken into account. So you can kind of see definitely going to feel like fall here as we go on in through this upcoming week. Let's check out Thursday morning there also. You can kind of see even some 50s. It's going to feel like the 50s there for Southern California and Sacramento Valley. Check it out, feeling like the 40s. So anyway, yep, I'm going to kick this video out. I may do a live stream tonight at some point. I'll probably gather as much information I can, see if we need to do that. Had about 1,000 people in the chat last night. Thanks for joining there. Thanks for checking back and, watching daily, because, again, this channel is not possible without you. That's the whole reason for the channel. And got a lot of smart people in the comments. The comments are generally positive, which is, kind of tough to do sometimes online and YouTube and whatnot. But yeah, a lot of people into the weather here across California. And when things get active like this, I'm glad to be able to get the word out. So if you click like and you click subscribe and you watch as long as you can on the video, it helps push the algorithm and it gets the video out to more people across the state. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. Hope you guys are prepared for the storm. I'll probably see you again at some point later today, and I will talk to you guys then.